Last time we were working on painting these 2x4s that were untreated for a shed thing that we're building. So now we've got it all loaded up. We have one 4x4 post for that project as well. The project's going to be a solar array that will double as storage. So we've loaded everything back up onto the trailer, and now we're getting ready to take this down to the other side of the property where we're going to build that array and start that project. So stay tuned. All right, we just arrived down at the other end of the property. We're getting ready to unload all this stuff. We brought some pallets to put all the wood on until tomorrow when we come down here and start building and laying out the pieces. We're going to be putting the array over here in this area. We have a water tank already down here to provide water to this area. When it's time, we have to paint it and get that all set up. But the array is going to be generally in this area, big square. That's the south there. So we'll be going that way. And then we're going to make it, 6 feet tall. So there'll be areas to walk under because we're not over 6 feet around here. And so we'll be building it in this area. So this is kind of a before of the area where the array will be. And right now we're going to be working on unloading all of that stuff. So that's what we're working on now. I'm going to put you on a time lapse so we can get busy. Good morning. First puppy walk of the day. We gotta see everything, smell everything, make sure everything's where it should be from the night before. Oh, puppies. Loretta is raring to go. They've had their haircuts recently, and they look awfully silly with their fresh haircuts, I always think. All right, buds. Here we go. Good morning. Loretta is the one on the right with the shorter hair. Finley is the fuzzier hair. They're litter mates, but they look a little different. I think they have some schnauzer and some terrier. I think the terrier is part of their attitude. It's very funny. They're very bossy. But they're good dogs. So it's a beautiful morning up here today. Just beginning to be the finish of monsoon, so the grass is going to seed. And the birds are singing. It's not too warm, not too cold. It's kind of perfect, like this time of year. Loretta's excited. Get him, Loretta. Get him. Get him. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right, we'll check back in a little bit later when we're getting ready to do our first project of the day. Okay, we're back. I've walked the dogs, had some breakfast, and now we're ready to start back on the project of the day, which happens to be that solar panel array we were talking about in the last video. And these are the panels we're going to be using for that array. We have 8 panels. They are used 250 watt industrial panels. We purchased at Santan Solar, great place. They are filthy, as you can see. These panels are set out here for temporary purposes for summer. We have them on blocks, so it's going to be, exciting lifting these up after the season. They've been out here just for one season. This is the end of the monsoon or summer season. You can see the grass is up and they're covered in pollen. So we're going to be working on cleaning these. They're pretty filthy. They also have, I think we had some frogs out here on them too. But these are my supplementary panels for summer. I use these to run additional power. Summertime, we need a little bit more support on my regular solar system, because I was running the air conditioning for my son. He requires that while he's inside. He needed the air conditioning, and so I needed a little bit more power for that. So these panels are here for the summer only, temporary, and now we're going to move them down and use them in the new array that we're building. My regular system consists of 2 different arrays. It's this one here. This is one that I store my propane tanks and my tractor fuel and my backup generator under here, generally out of the direct sun. Obviously right now it's in sun, but this is similar to the one we're going to be building down on the other side of the property, where we unloaded all the lumber. You can see a little bird nest up there, loves it. We'll be using 2x4s and the little fasteners that come with the panels. This is a little 3-panel array that I use to power a backup system, which I run my constant needs of for my freezer and those kinds of things. And then my daily needs are this is the Quonset hut. We'll show more of that in another video. It's still in process. This was the first structure that I built when I moved here off grid, and there's my Airstream. That's where I live while I'm building here off grid. This is a 20-foot Bambi, and it has an air conditioning unit on top. I don't know if you can see up there. It's 3,500 watts max. So my system that I use can power the air conditioner, the microwave, the TV, all the things that you use in a regular house. That's what I'm using out here. So on the front of the Quonset hut, or actually the south side, I have this pergola that we built, and I had an array of 6 panels installed on top, and those panels act as shade for a future patio. We'll be doing this in a future video, finishing that out. There'll be a stone patio down here, and then my Quonset hut, which doesn't have siding yet, because everything's a process when you're building off grid out here. But this 6-panel array is what powers all of my house needs at the moment. And so my house needs are powered by those panels, which go into the Quonset hut and run a 30-amp service that was installed by our electrician here locally. And then I plug my RV into it as if I'm living on shore power at some sort of RV camp. My system is actually an EcoFlow system, which I'll show you now. This is my RV that I have out here. And then, here's my little patio area. This rug used to be in my living room before I sold my house and moved out to the desert. But this is where I stay while I am building out here. Over there is the chicken coop and the pole barn, which we showed in a previous video. But anyway, the point is that we're using solar only for our electricity needs. I don't run generators. I like the quiet. In a very slim instance that I would need one, I do have a generator, but I don't generally use that. So we're going to be building a similar array to this one down on the other side of the property. That will be a little bit, or obviously larger, because it'll have those 8 panels on it, but it'll have sides on it as well. It'll kind of double as a shed storage, and then I will no longer be using these as my supplemental power up here in the summertime. So I'll show you my actual system, which we can go into more details later, which is supplemented by those panels. The regular system that's housed inside the Quonset hut here, and that will always run the Quonset hut even when my house is built and finished out. The system that's on the front pergola out there will always run the Quonset hut, which will be my art studio, a sewing studio, where I require power for my at-home jobs that I do to support myself out here. So more on that later, but I'll show you the system I'm using just so you have an idea of how I chose to do off-grid living and this particular thing. And hopefully as you watch, you'll see siding going on. This is poor Quonset hut. that we've taken a long time to work on. So I'll go in there now and show you that. All right, we are now inside of the Quonset hut, which houses all of my things right now. So it's sort of like a hoarder's paradise. I am a person who sews and sells on eBay. So you can see my sewing setup and my iron and my freezer. This is a stand-up freezer, so I have all my long-term storage of food and my list of things I have to do. This system in the closet area is the Bluetti system. I have 3 different things I've been testing out and trying. This is 3 batteries on here. This is that backup power source that I was telling you about that I use only for summer. This will be moving down to the other array that we're getting ready to do. This is the Bluetti B300. You can see each of these, this and the 2 on the bottom are batteries. You can run it with 1 battery, 2 battery, 3, or I think up to 5. This is the unit itself. It has a 30 amp service, so you can plug your RV directly into there if you want to. I just have been using this as backup. Like I said, this will power our guest spaces when I have like friends come to visit and they stay here. I have another little area for them to stay, and this powers those systems whenever we do it. But I was using it to dump the power from here to my main system over the summer when I wanted to use my air conditioning. So that's this system. Excuse the dust. And then these are the systems I use for my everyday use in here. This, it's hard to see because it's in a bag to protect it when I had it outside before I built the Quonset hut. This is the EcoFlow Delta. I think it's a Delta Pro. Yeah, Delta Pro. This is the first generation. They have a bigger one or a different one now. But as you see, it has a 30 amp service on it as well. And it's powering, it may not show, it's at 36%. It's 8 in the morning right now with solar. I drain it down each night, so it's already up at 36%. I'll be at 100% by 10 a.m. And this is the main unit, and this is a backup battery for that. So these 2 basically power my entire house right now. And like I said, I have a freezer, I have computers, I have TVs, I have microwave, I have air conditioning, everything you have in a normal house. That's what I'm using to do it. This system I charge daily off of this. This is another EcoFlow. It's smaller, and I use this to take around the property when we need power. It's like my portable generator. When we're using power tools that require a plug-in, I use this, like my cement mixer and different things, saws and things that are corded. I use this one, and I just take it with me. It's heavy, but it's liftable and easy with no wheels. And I charge this off of my main system here. I just bring it in the evening, plug it in, and fill up the battery, and it's good to go. I had an electrician come and wire. This is a closet that we're in inside the Quonset hut. You'll see more of that at later times. But I had an electrician come in and wire this because I'm not an electrician. And basically, this is my fuse box for the Quonset hut only. And the solar panels that you saw out there, they're coming in on these wires here, and they feed into this system. That's why that's moving right now. It's getting power from the solar panels that I showed you outside. And then that power is then going into this fuse box right here. So the thing that's feeding this fuse box is the EcoFlow system. And then that fuse box runs on a cable, a 30 amp cable out. There's my lantern, battery operated because this closet's not lit yet. It runs out, actually it runs over the doorway and then out the wall to the 30 amp box that you saw on the outside of my Quonset hut, which is where my RV is plugged in. So the RV has everything in it that I would need or have plugged in at a regular campground or in your driveway or garage. It has all the power that I would have there. I can run every system on the RV. I'm not running on lead acid batteries that are house batteries for the RV. I'm running on this system, and this system is acting, I should say, just like your grid power in town. If I was at town and plugged into a system, this replaces the grid. I have no grid power out here where I live. I'm on 40 acres out remote, and I don't have the option for electricity from my local municipality. So this is my solution. I chose this because it was more economical than a traditional system. And I wanted to test it. When I got it, it was the first generation of this. I wasn't sure if it would work, and it has worked just fine. It's just as powerful as any of the gas generators, and I guess it's a cleaner wave. I don't understand all of that, but it runs all my intricate systems on board a lot better than some of the generators I've tried in the past too. So this has been supporting me for 2 years out here. I'm pleased with it, and I like it also because it's mobile. It has the ability to go with me when I go on trips. I can take this with me in the back of the car, and I can go to national parks where there's not power, and I have the same power I would as if I'm at home or plugged in, like I said, to a grid somewhere. So very versatile, very usable, and not sponsored, but I do like the system. I have worries about it. I can do more info on it in the future videos, but I've been trying out, I have different kinds of systems that I've been trying out to see what I want to do for my main house. But this has been very consistent and reliable for me so far. The other system I have as just a backup for safety, and also I used to use this as before I got the smaller box for tool use outside. There's a printer, by the way, that I run, a big industrial printer. There's everything you have in a house, I run on it. This one is the Goal Zero. Goal Zero I find is not quite as versatile. It only has one way to charge. You either have to choose solar or you can choose grid power to charge it. You can't do both at once. This system, as well as the Bluetti, I could put solar panel charge coming into it. I could also plug it into a wall and it could charge super fast, where this one charges much slower, but it's very consistent. It's very simple. It has 2 outlets on the front. It's also very powerful. It can handle the load of cement mixers and my miter saw that has a big surge on it. So these are my backup systems. These are the ones that I take around the grounds, so to speak, to power things while we're building, so I don't have to listen to a generator the entire time and do all that. So anyway, that's my everyday house system. That's what I use. I don't have generators running all the time or any of that. I just use these. And this is the system, the Bluetti system, that we'll be taking down when we finish this array that we're going to be doing for our guest space. This will be powered off of those panels that we're building the array for now. So that's that. I hope that answers some questions. I'm sure there'll be more, and I can give you those answers at later times when we go into more details about our setup here. But right now we have some work to do on those projects, and I'm gonna get started. Arrived. We have the dirty panels loaded onto the trailer. Spared you the sweaty experience of that. We also loaded in a lot of the tools we're going to be using for this, at least some of them to start. We have a level saw, the wiring that we need for the panels, fasteners and different things that we'll be using. We'll definitely be bringing more down as we go, but we'll be starting with this. What we're going to be doing, as I showed you in an earlier part of the video, we'll be building this array over in that area, and we're going to be having 9 vertical posts, 4x4 posts, to support this system. And they're going to be placed over here based on the same design we used for the other panels. So we're going to put you on a time lapse, and you're going to see us laying the panels out with 2x4s before they're cut to the exact specifications, just so we can get the spacing right for where to dig our post holes. And then we're going to mark it with marking paint. You'll see us in the video doing that, and laying it out. And over the next probably a couple videos, you'll see us working on this project and making some progress and building up from here. But this is the before, and hopefully soon you'll see an after emerging. Right, so you probably saw in the time lapse we just moved the panels over, and what we did is we laid them on the ground using the 2x4s and 4x4s that we're going to be using for the structure in order to get our proper spacing. This is not the final square of, like, perfectly square structure, but it gives us an idea of where to spray our corner posts. So what we've done is the brackets we're using to attach these panels to our lumber. It's a Z bracket or something. We'll show it to you when we start to use it, but it requires a 2x4 section outside of the line of the panel itself. It makes this Z shape and connects to that way. So when we space the posts that this thing will be resting on, we need to space the 2x4s that they'll be attached to outside the panel. So that tells us we don't need a gap in between north to south, because the brackets are actually going to be 2 per long side of the panels like this. So instead of having to measure and do all the fancy math, we just laid it on the ground so that we can lift them up and paint with marking paint. We faced it to the south. We gave ourselves a guideline. You can see the end of the paint down there where we kind of wanted it to stop in general in the area. This, you might not see on camera, but there's sort of, the ground sort of starts to slope here, and in the monsoon over in that direction there can be a little bit of extra water collection. So we wanted to avoid that by a good 20 feet, just in case there's any kind of you know, sheet flow or anything. We don't want to wash out our footings for the posts that we're going to be putting in. So we wanted it back far enough from that. We wanted to avoid these cat claws and bushes over there, and then the shade from any trees in the west for the evening. This will be up 6 feet off the ground, so it should avoid most of that. And then, so that's that, we placed it so that we could walk around it easily and also store stuff under it when it's all said and done. So this is our placement. Now what we're going to do is kind of do the corners. There's going to be a 4x4 post here at this corner, a 4x4 post in the middle here, and then a 4x4 post on that corner. There'll also be a post there in the middle, there in the very center, here, and then the corners there in the center and there. So the 9 4x4 posts all together, 6 feet off the ground generally with a slight slope. And these are 2x4 lumber pieces, with the exception of the middle, which we have a 4x4 post just to save on what we could find at the store, just make it simple on ourselves. So we'll be cutting these to the proper length across here, but we wanted to make sure that we had the gap correct before we spray paint the corners. So John's gonna spray paint the corner here. This is how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna lift it up, and then we're gonna go around and remove the lumber, because this basically under this corner is where our post is gonna be. And of course this is just for digging holes. So I'm gonna lift it up. He's gonna spray where we're gonna start our holes, and that will give us a general idea. Once we have the holes in, we can build the wood frame on the ground, and then square the holes and the posts specifically before we set them. The 4 corners will be in concrete, as well as the center post, but the other corners will not be in concrete, so they'll be slightly more adjustable as time goes. This soil is very hard down here. It has it's softer than the soil up by our chicken coop, but it still does have clay and sand content. So what we do is we mark the holes. We start the post with a post hole digger, which we'll show when it comes to that. And then we add water to it to soften it and let the water go down. And then you can easily, over time, it takes longer to dig the holes that way, but you can get a nice precise hole, and you can get, it's a little easier. And then when we set the post, even without concrete in it, it really sets well with water in the hole as well. It's like that, almost like a cob mixture without the straw. So that's what we're doing, and we'll probably catch you next time on that. We're gonna go around and spray paint our holes, and then move the panels and everything out of the way so that we can start digging. And the digging part will be probably in a later video, because this one's getting a little long. So thanks for watching. We appreciate your support, and we'll catch you next time.